Two new CCGs come out of the E3 lineup. Blade & Soul introduces a Soul Fighter class and talks about game optimization. Warframe introduces a very sporty new game mode, and apparently Hawken plans to make a triumphant comeback on the consoles this summer. What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending June 20th, 2016. Starting out the news this week was a pretty eventful E3 for our industry. This year we had more than 70,000 people attend, 50,000 of which were video game professionals, analysts, journalists, and enthusiasts, and the other 20,000 were straight-up fans. And once again, E3 broke records for social media just like it did last year. So starting out our coverage, we played Lawbreakers for the first time, and at the show they were introducing their new game mode called Turf War and a new map called California Keys. Now Turf War is a very twisted version of domination where the Law and the Breakers fight over capture points that are surrounded by zero gravity fields, which, as you can probably tell, is pretty interesting. Each side has their own capture point that can be captured by either team, but typically it came down to the center point, resulting in a huge bloodbath. The fun part is we played about 5 matches there at the show, and I was on the Law side the entire time, and the Breakers couldn't even touch us, even with the VIP Bakerman Brad switching sides to help them out. I can say, though, after playing the game, it definitely felt like a cross between Unreal Tournament and Overwatch, somewhere in between the two of those games. The other cool part is that they just had their closed alpha test this past weekend, and they're planning to have another one soon, so hopefully we'll have some keys to raffle off to you guys so you can try it out yourself. Also at E3, we were introduced to Legends, the Elder Scrolls strategy card game. This new game from Bethesda explores the series' characters, creatures, deities, and lore. It might have a Hearthstone look and feel, but the developers are actually trying to incorporate new features, like multiple lanes, for example. Being able to choose from 2 lanes in order to place creature cards in can really change the dynamic and strategy overall. Deciding what lane or portion of the battlefield you want to fight over is a really important aspect in this game. The rune mechanic is also somewhat unique in that each player starts off with 5 runes, and every time they take 5 damage, one of the runes breaks and they draw a card. And if it so happens to be a card with a prophecy mechanic, then they get to use that card for free, so it kind of adds an interesting comeback mechanic in that way. The game is free to play, with a fairly elaborate story mode to unlock cards. Elder Scrolls fans that play Hearthstone should like this one. Check out my E3 dev interview to get a little bit more insight. But speaking of card games with familiar IPs, the E3 announced card game Gwent is based in the Witcher universe. This is another free-to-play game that mixes elements between poker and board games, so not exactly like Hearthstone in that regard, but from the announcement trailer you see here, it almost seems like a physical card game. In fact, that's what people are thinking in the comments, and that's what we thought when we saw the posters and trailer at the show. But that's not the case. This game is set up so that the game board is divided into several areas, and in the battlefield you've got 3 rows, melee, ranged, and siege, that you populate by placing cards with different combat values. Each card has a combat value, and some of them have abilities. Now, placing cards do not cost resources, and every turn players must place a card on the board or decide to pass. You start off with 10 cards that you choose before the match starts, and you don't draw additional cards unless you have cards that let you draw another, making the cards you choose extra valuable in this case. The goal of the game is to have a total score higher than your opponent, so the trick lies in thoughtfully gathering points and manipulating their score through different combos. Fairly cool take on a CCG. Check out the game profile page at MMOHuts.com for even more details. Otherwise, you can register for the beta on PC and Xbox One starting now. Witcher and CCG fans unite. Next up, we were fortunate enough to run into the community manager for Black Desert at E3, and he gave us a little insight on the new Valencia update that was slightly delayed from its original launch date. The first part of the update, which includes an introduction to the Siege Warfare, was supposed to launch on the 14th, but was delayed until the 17th due to the developer, Pearl Abyss, wanting to introduce more content to the patch. I guess there are plenty of worse reasons for updates not launching on time. Unfortunately, Dom couldn't localize the add-ons quick enough to launch it on its originally announced time, so now what they're calling the rehearsal phase of the Siege Warfare has launched as of the 17th, and this is due to the system being a little challenging to comprehend, and it's designed to get players acquainted with it before the official Siege launch on July 3rd. We also got some other secret information out of the community manager, so to find out more, check out our Black Desert coverage from E3. On a similar note, Dizzy PW interviewed the producer for Blade and Soul at E3 about some of the new content and what's been going on in the game over the past few months. Apparently they've been working hard at optimization, which is just as, if not more exciting than the new content headed to the game in the coming months. The latest update introduces the Soul Fighter, which is a hybrid class that has access to both ranged and melee abilities, basically a combo Kung Fu Master and Force Master class that is super versatile, being able to switch stances on the fly in order to maximize on separate skill cooldowns. Beyond that, they've got raids coming within the next 6 months, 24-player content, new story content, Act 5 and 6 will be coming out, new heroic dungeons, and so much more. But like I mentioned in the beginning, there's a lot of new quality of life features, updates, and reworks happening in the game, so if it's been a little while since you played, now is definitely the time to get back in to check it out. The new Soul Fighter class is now available. Check out our dev interview for more details on what's new. Also, while we were in the NCSoft booth, we got the scoop on Master X Master, but I can't talk about that just yet, unfortunately. Look forward to that soon, but as a reminder, the first alpha playtest is happening this coming weekend from June 24th to the 27th, and it looks like we'll have some keys to give you guys in order to join in and try it out. Now, I can say I did get to play the game a little bit at E3, both PvE and PvP, and before I thought it was basically an NCSoft version of Heroes of the Storm, and now that I got to play it, to be honest, that is not at all the case. In fact, the only relation between the two games is the fact that they use characters from other games within their company, and that's it. The game feels more like Marvel Heroes or HeroWarz than it does any MOBA. Keep a lookout for alpha keys as well as our MXM E3 coverage starting tomorrow, the 21st. And likewise, HeroWarz is hosting its second closed beta test this week, starting tomorrow, June 21st, running through the 24th, which is perfect timing if you're wanting to lead into playing Master X Master directly afterwards. I'll definitely be doing that. This one is a bit more public, so it's easier to get into. Plus, if you're part of the first test, then you'll have access to this one as well. Now, the good news here is that this one opens the game up to more regions, like the European regions, and adds in more content than the first test. Keep an eye out at our giveaway page for beta keys, but also try to register from their website. You might not even need a key this time around. Who knows? I'll probably hop in game this week to bring you guys more coverage, so if you can, find me in game. Next up, it looks like Digital Extremes announced its new game mode for Warframe during E3 last week. We've been informed, or teased rather, about this game mode in the past, and it's called Lunaro. It sounds like a sleep medication, to be honest. Wait, I'm thinking Lunesta. Anyway, it's a contact ball sport played long ago by Tenno of years past, and it's now back. This is a new Conclave mode that accommodates up to 4 players per team and focuses on skill, mobility, teamwork, and creativity. Now, the object of the game here is to move the ball up an Orokin arena into the opponent's goal. Kind of like soccer, or football, depending on your region, crossed with Jai-Alai. You defend your zone by smashing the ball out of your opponent's possession or knocking them to the ground with a crushing hit. Talk about a unique game mode. This one is definitely up there. This is the first of 3 significant updates planned for Warframe in June and July. Keep a lookout for more details on future updates as they become available over the next month. In some non-E3 news, ELOA prepares to launch its Epic 2 Outlaw's Emperor expansion tomorrow, June 21st. With this expansion, the level cap increases to 50 with a new town, new fields, and 3 new dungeons added for level capped players. They've revised the Transcendence level system as well as the Honor Point shop on top of that, and other than a couple of rewards for pre-registering for the expansion, this is a fairly small update. Check out the new trailer and site post for more details. On a slightly similar note, Elsword introduces Rose's first class path choices already, and we've got the Heavy Barrel and the Stormtrooper at our disposal. With the Heavy Barrel job path, Rose modifies her weapons to utilize the L-Shard and has gained access to more advanced weaponry, as the name implies. So now she roams the battlefield with her newfound power, ready to take out any foe that stands in her way, and the Stormtrooper job transforms Rose into her final form, giving her a new power and Operation Raise, the ultimate battle equipment, allowing her to completely master heavy weaponry. Check out the Elsword site posts for all the recent changes, and from the new trailer, you can easily see that the damage is real. Next up is some very cool news revealed at E3 from Hawken. The game is finally headed to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One sometime this summer, and over the past year, the new team on Hawken has been working hard to get it ready to go on the consoles, and after reworks and certifications, it's a go for launch. It's been a little while since we've heard from Hawken, and this is some good news. According to the official post, there will undoubtedly be some cleanup and fixes required for the console launch, but during that time, they are preparing for the PC relaunch. It's kind of interesting that they didn't really focus on that first, but apparently they have some good reasons. They've also structured the project so that way any development efforts in the future apply across all platforms, making sure they are up to the same version when development happens. Future development targets, roadmap, and more defined console release dates will be released over the coming weeks, so definitely stay tuned for that. And finally, for last bit of news, Smite and Paladins both had huge tournaments at Dreamhack this past weekend. For Paladins, it was the $100,000 Founders Tournament, and for Smite, it was the Masters, serving as a capstone of the spring split for the Smite Pro League, bringing together the best teams from around the globe, with the top team bringing home $250,000. Not bad. The finals best of 5 came down to Panthera and Soar Gaming, with dominance from Panthera, 3-0, no contest there. Paladins tournament, on the other hand, was the first ever LAN tournament at the professional level between the Americas and the European teams, and that $100,000 went to the European team District 69 in the finals. So now that the Dreamhack tournament is over as of today, Paladins can release its patch hold later this week and introduce the new Frostbite Caverns map, as well as the latest champion, Bomb King. Check out the site post for all the Paladins and Smite details. The Smite World Championships 2017 has already been announced, along with the dates to the Hi-Res Expo. Anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this week. Stay tuned for our last bit of E3 coverage coming to you guys real soon, and check out even more coverage at MMOHuts.com. Like always, if you're looking for more information regarding the news featured in the recap, check the link to the description below. Otherwise, head over to MMOHuts.com for all the latest gaming news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.